Jake. That's the name they saddled me with. Grew up in a family where there was only room for one star, and that was my big brother, Ryan. He could sell ice to an Eskimo and still make it sound like the deal of the century. Me? I was more likely to get a puzzled Eskimo shaking his head and asking, "Why the heck would I need ice?" At the dinner table, Dad would plant his proud gaze on Ryan and say, "Jakey, your brother could charm a snake out of its skin! What's your superpower? Rolling your eyes?" "Oh, sure, Pops," I'd retort, keeping my eyes steady just to spite him. "I'll get right on learning to be Ryan 2.0. Mom wasn't much different. I could have been on fire and she would have asked why I couldn't put it out as gracefully as Ryan would have. It was always Ryan the brilliant, Ryan the magnetic, and me? I was just Jake, your average Jane's guy next door. For a while, I even bought into their narrative, almost convinced myself I was the dollar store version of Ryan. Enter Emily, the light at the end of my dingy tunnel. She was the sort of girl who'd pick the wilting daisy over a whole field of roses. And boy was I lucky she had a soft spot for underdogs. We tied the knot early, probably because we couldn't bear to wait. One day, after a dinner table debacle that left a worse taste in my mouth than Dad's burnt casserole, I made a resolution. "Enough of this circus," I muttered, shaking off the residual frustration. "I'm shipping out." And so, the military became my ticket out of the madhouse. The evening before my departure, Emily and I huddled under our favorite tree, the very spot where I'd first popped the question, slick as a greased seal. She had this look in her eyes, the kind you'd see on a rabbit before it bolted. I tried to ease her worry. "Don't fret, Em. It's just a break. From everything, we'll be better for it." "I hope so, Jake," she breathed, her voice barely disturbing the evening air. "Just come back in one piece, okay?" I chuckled. "Do I look like Humpty Dumpty to you, Em? Of course I'll come back safe." We stayed there, the silence wrapping around us like a blanket until Dawn dared to interrupt. Leaving Emily felt like having my heart surgically removed. But I needed the change. A clean slate. But boy was I in for a plot twist. I came back from my tour, battle-scarred and weary, to a hero's welcome. At least, that's what the family group chat would have you believe. Streamers and welcome home banners as far as the phone screen could show. The real deal? A lukewarm hug from Mom, a handshake from Dad that screamed business as usual, and Ryan's patented bro hug. Emily was a sight for sore eyes, but something was off. Then, just like in the movies, the plot twisted again. Emily's eyes sparkled like she had swallowed a bunch of fireflies. "Jake, I have news. I'm pregnant." The room froze for a moment, and then chaos broke loose. Mom and Dad became a blur of hugging bodies, and Ryan was already thumbing away on his phone, probably notifying his million-strong fan base. As for me, I was stuck in the middle of a mental tornado, calculating, speculating, and still trying to figure out if this was just an elaborate prank. "Oh. What, you peed on a stick while I was parking the car?" I blurted out, my internal filter broken by the news. Emily flinched a little, but countered, "Actually, I'm already 4 months along, Jake." My relationship with math was suddenly as shaky as a Jenga tower on a moving train. I sputtered. "Wait, you're... what?" My voice squealed like a frightened mouse, and I could see smirks spreading across everyone's faces. "Isn't it awesome, bro?" Ryan punched my arm, unable to suppress his grin. "You're going to be a dad!" But a dark cloud of suspicion was already swirling in my head. I felt like I was in a B-rated mystery flick, only there was no director yelling, "Cut!" Just the sound of my world crumbling in slow-mo. "Jake, are you going to say anything?" Dad's voice cut through my mental monologue, sounding more like a drill sergeant than soon-to-be grandpa. Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic, Em. I plastered the most believable smile on my face. As the room transformed into a baby-themed think tank, discussing everything from names to diaper brands, I excused myself. I needed to breathe and think. My gut was screaming that something was wrong. Since my homecoming, things had spiraled into a bizarre reality show, and this family dinner was turning into a bonus episode of The Real House Husbands of My Hometown. Mom and Dad were busy planning Emily's baby shower, and Ryan was suddenly an expert on pregnancy cravings. All the while, my head was a swirl of doubts and the nagging feeling that this picture-perfect scene was a ticking time bomb. So, Ryan, suddenly you're an expert on prenatal vitamins and weird midnight cravings? I asked, my smile just wide enough to let a hint of sarcasm peek through. Just doing my job as a caring brother-in-law, bro, Ryan replied, matching my grin. Interesting, I remarked, chuckling. I thought the only nutrition you were interested in was the kind you get from soda and chicken wings. Nighttime found me wide awake, observing Emily sleep. Her peacefulness, that special maternal glow. It was enchanting. You're stunning, Em, I whispered, her lips curled into a gentle smile. I love you, I confessed, my fingertips gently grazing her slightly rounded belly. The way Emily and Ryan interacted was odd, though, like a private joke where I was the punchline. But no one had bothered to clue me in. One afternoon, Emily's phone buzzed with an incoming message. The screen lit up, revealing a text from Ryan. I'm sorry, it said. I'm so confused right now. I could feel my blood run cold. Despite my better judgment, I scrolled up, my pulse drumming a frantic beat in my ears. It's going to be okay, just stick to the plan, a previous message from Ryan read. Plan? What freaking plan? My mind raced, trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle with too many missing pieces. Days later, I walked into the living room to find them in hushed whispers, punctuated by soft laughter. I caught Emily saying, Can't believe I'm carrying your... before they noticed me and fell silent. Their clumsy attempts at brushing it off only fueled my suspicion. Enough was enough. I needed the truth. And the next family dinner seemed like a perfectly dramatic backdrop for my confrontation. So, what's this top-secret plan you two keep whispering about? I casually dropped the question at the dinner table. The blood drained from their faces faster than a vampire at an all-you-can-eat buffet. What plan? Emily stammered, laughing in a way that sounded more like a nervous hyena. I decided to drop it for now, but inside, I felt like I was trapped in a soap opera with the world's worst script. The sense of betrayal from the two people I trusted the most felt like a punch to the gut. It was as if an electric current of unease zapped through the air around us. Something was coming, and I had a sinking feeling that it was going to be bigger than the Titanic iceberg. I found myself doing some impromptu snooping in Ryan's room. Yeah, I know. Privacy, Jake, privacy! But desperate times and all that. My heart hammered against my ribcage as I discovered a hidden compartment in his drawer. Inside a cluster of letters tied neatly with a red ribbon. Emily's handwriting stared back at me. Dear Ryan, I murmured, my voice barely above a whisper. Emily's words were a sucker punch straight to my gut. She wrote about shared moments, secrets, and confessions with my brother. My hands shook as I reached the end of the letter. We will tell Jake that it's his child. For our family's sake. I felt like I'd been ambushed by a wave of betrayal, anger, and disbelief. My wife, my brother, and even my parents. They were all in on this sick charade. Jake! Ryan's voice yanked me back to the present. I quickly concealed the letter, spinning around to face him with a poker face that could rival any Vegas champ. Hey, Ryan, I replied, forcing my voice to sound steady. Just hunting for socks. You know, 'cause the military didn't exactly prep me for this frosty welcome home. He chuckled awkwardly. Ha! Yeah, sure, grab whatever you need. A sarcastic smile tugged at my lips. "Trust me, I will," I answered, locking my gaze onto his. The air was thick with unspoken tension. "Jake, you're acting kinda weird. Is everything alright?" Emily asked, stepping into the room. "Weird? Oh, you mean Days of Our Lives weird? Or Jerry Springer level weird?" I quipped, shooting a loaded glance between them. The reference hit home and their faces drained of color quicker than bleach on a stain. In the echo chamber that our room had become, my laughter rang out, a hollow sound as empty as my illusory life. Next thing I know, I'm staring down at a paternity test, and there it was. 99.9% probability of the baby being Ryan's, and not mine. Well, talk about life having a cruel sense of humor. I guess Ryan really did outdo me, huh? Now I bet you're wondering, how did I get a paternity test? It wasn't like I could have just asked Emily to get one. She'd have looked at me like I was an alien from planet Absurdity. So I had to do some creative maneuvering, with Ryan's toothbrush as my accomplice. Suspicions can lead you down strange paths, it seems. Emily and I were at the clinic for one of her routine checkups. She was all bubbly, chit-chatting about potential baby names and Pinterest-perfect nursery designs, unaware of the storm swirling inside me. At the clinic, Emily's blood was drawn for some regular tests. A quick pinch on the arm, some medical mumbo-jumbo, and we were done. That's what she thought, anyway. When Emily excused herself for a bathroom break, I made my move. "Doc," I whispered, a sense of urgency coating my words. "I need a favor. A paternity test." His eyebrows shot up, a look of surprise quickly replaced by understanding. "Jake, are you sure?" "As sure as a vegan in a vegetable store," I replied, keeping my tone firm. Just like that, I had a paternity test on the way. Slightly sneaky, maybe, but desperate times call for even more desperate tricks, right? If only the results were a punchline to a bad joke, instead of my harsh reality. As I faced my family, Mom was a waterfall of tears. "Jake, we only wanted the best for the baby. Please, try to see." "Oh, I see plenty," I interrupted with a sardonic laugh. "You wanted the best for your grandchild. No questions asked. Ryan's, Jake's, who cares, right?" Dad, my superhero, couldn't even meet my gaze. The man who taught me to be brave, to face adversity, couldn't face his own son. His silence was more piercing than any reproach he had ever given. Ryan, the prodigal son, was more stunned than a deer in headlights. I didn't know," he stammered. "Welcome to reality, bro." Emily, her eyes were wide with terror. From the one who'd walk through fire for her, I had now become the one setting everything ablaze. "You did this all behind my back and had the guts to lie to my face?" I questioned, my tone steady, masking the tempest within. She nodded after a pause, a solitary tear escaping her eye. I'm sorry," she murmured. Her apology was as vacant as the trust I once had in her. Rolling back to the confrontation, I found myself confronting the actors in this charade. "So, this is how it is, huh?" I began, my voice hard as steel. "Happy to let me play the fool while you all knew the truth." Dad attempted to say something. "Jake, it's not what—" I cut him short. "Not what, Dad? That you didn't conspire? You, Mom, Emily, even Ryan. You all agreed I was just dispensable." Emily, her voice trembling, tried to defend. "Jake, we never wanted to hurt you." My laughter filled the room, acrid and harsh. "Oh, didn't mean to hurt me? You sure have a peculiar way of avoiding that, Emily." Ryan made a move towards me, guilt etched on his face. "Jake, I'm not interested." I stopped him abruptly. I'm no one's doormat, Ryan. Not anymore. My gaze hardened on my parents. And you two. I pointed at them. The best for your grandchild? Did you ever consider what was best for your son? Tears brimming in her eyes, Mom tried to explain. Jake, we just... No, Mom. I stopped her, my own eyes betraying my hurt. You don't get to explain this away. None of you do. Jake, let's talk this through. Dad's voice was desperate. We're still a family. Family? Families don't lie to each other, Dad. I replied, my voice barely a whisper. You all chose this path. Not me. Enjoy the ride. I turned on my heel and headed for my room, leaving them in a stunned silence. My parting words echoed hauntingly, marking the end of an era. The end of our family as we knew it. In the solitude of my room, I exhaled a heavy sigh. The quiet around me buzzed with unanswered questions, each one a reminder of the charade my life had been. Why, Emily? Why? I sighed. A trip down memory lane took me back to simpler times. Emily, the girl next door, with an infectious laugh. Our folks would always nudge Ryan or me when she was around, teasing about future wedding bells. Suddenly, my phone jolted me back to the present. An alert on stock prices. I unlocked my phone to shut off the notification, but something caught my eye. A whopping $500,000. Well, well, that's a kick in the pants, I chuckled dryly. You lose a wife, you gain a fortune. Cosmic humor, ladies and gents. Feeling a burst of energy, I started to pack. Sunshine, sea, and Ibiza, here I come. Fast forwarding to the party central of the world, I found myself across the table from Ava, a fiery redhead I matched with on Tinder. Yes, it was quick, but I needed an escape and she seemed like the perfect distraction. Her bio had this sense of tranquility, a soothing balm to my chaotic life. Jake, Ava said, her emerald eyes sparkling. What made you swipe right? Grinning, I replied, your bio said you're a free spirit. And frankly, I need some of that mojo right now. We danced, we laughed, and as the party mellowed down, we found ourselves on a beach watching the waves crash against the shore. You know, Ava, I finally said, I was married. Her eyebrows shot up. You were? Yeah, I continued. Let's just say I found a real-life soap opera where I wasn't the hero. Got betrayed by everyone I trusted. Ava's gaze softened. I'm sorry, Jake. That's rough. I shrugged. It was, but hey, you know the saying, what doesn't kill you gives you an excuse to party in Ibiza. We both erupted into laughter. It was cathartic to joke about the pain. Ava squeezed my hand. Well, I'm glad you're here, Jake. Me too, Ava, I replied, offering her a genuine smile. As the first rays of sunlight began to kiss the sky, we sat there intertwined in a comforting silence. It was a fresh dawn, a new chapter.